tried to maintain the kind of rough and wild character of this, not manicured, covered in grass. It may look a little messy, but I think it's kind of honest. I hope others appreciate it. Another significant thing is getting the water off of the trail. And you can see here's one of our ditches that we had to create. So on either the water drains to either side of the trail as we head down. So on that side, it's on the other side to keep it off, so there's not a ditch down all the way down one side. The other thing that the functional design originally wanted, like I said before, the trail is between 11 meters and 5 meters on the bridge. So it's very narrow, but we've tried to create a little bit of variety so that it has a different experience when you're heading north and south, and to even wind it a little bit, just to give it a bit of character and not make it just like a straight line. But I'd like to talk a little bit about that and also the elements. One of them there's a bollard here. This is made out of steel. As you can see, our signs back here are made out of steel as well, and they're allowed to oxidize or rust. And that's really, once again, about trying to maintain a material that has a certain natural quality to it, but is also extremely tough and resistant to an urban life. You can see graffiti and tagging are a big part of what happens in this area, and we had to be obviously cognizant of that. That's one of the reasons John used that mesh material as well, although he actually is quite interested if people will start to put paint on that. He didn't want it lit, he didn't want vines growing on that. That's why there's concrete underneath it. So there's a lot of thought into the construction of all these elements. All of our signs we have at our trailhead, we have a 3-letter abbreviation for the street. So in this case, it's BLR to indicate Bloor. And there's different ones, Dundas, DUN, etc. And that's keyed in on our major signs. A little thing is that these signs also tell you where you are along the trail. So there's 3 little cutouts of that piece of steel. The top one indicates Dundas West. Yep, right up there. And then the bottom one indicates our north point, which is Caribou. And the one in the middle indicates where we are right now and spatially in between those 2 points. So So this is a significant transit hub for the city. As I said, the GO train is here, so we put bike parking here and a connection gated into the platforms. This is the Georgetown line. There's the TTC, actually, subway station is right underneath here. So there is thought that one day there might be a connection right from the path right into that platform, which would be fabulous. And there'd certainly be some redevelopment here. Just quickly, in terms of the natural character as well, we've used some, these are native hornbeams, Celtis occidentalis, and this area was actually quite vegetated when we started. It was covered in mostly Manitoba maple. So I planted a lot of trees here because I wanted to recreate that character. It's not going to be instant, obviously, but for anybody who used to use the trail before it was constructed, I've tried to, where there was dense planting, have more dense planting, and then where it was very open, which it was very, very open south of Bloor Street, we've just left that as a wildflower mix. The seeding along here is a little different. It's primarily grasses, little blue stem, rudbeckia, and some other plants, but it'd be a more unified cover. There's milkweed, asters. There's a stewardship group that's a volunteer stewardship group that's being formed. I'm going to be part of it to help see that this kind of landscape does require maintenance and stewardship. So it'd be great to have a local group that can help champion and help move it along. So the trail north of Bloor has a very different character than the trail south of Bloor. It's very industrial south of Bloor. Now we're moving into a series of neighborhoods, residential, that also have an industrial, post-industrial character left beside them. But there's a series of streets that terminate at this rail path, and the way these are handled is something I thought was very important. So these are a series of plazas that connect with each street. Before, these just dead-ended here with big fences. So now the idea is to try to bring the street and the neighborhood into this linear park, and vice versa, bring the linear park into the community. So that's why there's a different material to also signify to cyclists or faster moving pedestrians that there's something happening here. We tried to use materials that are very durable and easy to maintain, but try to use them in interesting ways. I mentioned the steel. Here we've used standard City of Toronto sidewalk detail, but just used it in a way, you can see it has the tool joints and looks exactly like that. So to really say that this is part of the City of Toronto. Even the light standards themselves are all standard city lights, but just used in a slightly different way. So it's easy for them to maintain them over the long run. The plazas are also marked by a series of aspen, trembling aspen here. This is our native aspen here with an underplanting of coralberry. Solway Scrapyard, I guess. G. Solway and Sons is the official name. That's still in use. You can see the adjacent here, this site has been cleared. I'm not sure what's going to happen with that. But the interesting thing I think I just like to point out is that something like this, an investment in a public space like this, can really be a catalyst for redevelopment of the neighborhood. And so you're seeing change happening. We're going to see it even more as we head north here.
Have you ever had it?
I don't really know.
Here's a little plaza just up ahead. You can see there's no street tying in, but that is there to connect with this development. So you can see new residential development is happening along the trail. So that's part of the point here, is to really make those connections too for future development. This line we're on once again was called the CPPS lead, and I just did a little bit of research on it. I'm sure our historical experts can help me out here a bit, but this would have been an old spur line that would have fed this factory right here. So the property lines really reflect the old quality of the train lines and rail corridors that would serve this industrial sites. So let's go up to the Wallace Street footbridge.